Hello, my name is John Jimenez. Today I'll be talking about brain implants and the ethical responsibilities of having them. So the topics we will discuss is what happened, the ethical actors, the ethical issue, the ethical standard, the action tested, the conclusion, and food for thought. So what happened? So brain implants are being used to alter neural activity. They're being used to treat different neural dysfunctions. These dysfunctions include Parkinson's, seizures, paralysis, and other more common disorders. There may be moments that the implants influence an individual's perception of the world. This is the tricky part. So in case 1, we have Mr. B. Mr. B received deep brain stimulation, DBS, from the implant. While being treated, he developed an entirely new music preference. So this can change our preferences, this ultimately could change our personality, what we like and what we dislike. Mr. X, in the second case, also received DBS, the deep brain stimulation. During his treatment, he hallucinated. So we can see where this could be very dangerous if you're out on the street and you start hallucinating and seeing the wrong things. We wouldn't want that to happen. So the ethical actors. Mr. B received his treatment for his obsessive compulsive disorder and developed a new music preference for Johnny Cash. Once the treatment was turned off, once the implant was turned off, he completely lost the preference for Johnny Cash's music. So it's just a complete on and off switch for his new persona. Mr. X, on the other hand, had a hallucination of doctors becoming chefs with aprons during his treatment. These are simply 2 cases, but the actors would be any patients that are wanting the deep brain stimulation from neural implants to help whatever their ailments will be. The ethical issue. Should people dealing with neurological issues get implants put into their brains? If they do not, is it ethical for them to continue living with these ailments for the rest of their lives? Do they have to continue suffering when there is something out there that can take away these issues that they are having? But if they do, is it ethical for them to possibly put themselves and others at risk due to complications with the device? It just takes one moment of a malfunction to hurt themselves or somebody else. So the ethical standard. The ethical standard is the same one that we had discussed in class. These are some of the examples of good for society and will be the ethical standard that we will be testing against in the next slide. These are productivity, happiness, health, and security. Actions tested. People getting a brain implant. This is the action we're testing. So the positives are that the people can increase their happiness by reducing or eliminating their ailments. So if you have the obsessive compulsive disorder, if you have Parkinson's, or if you have seizures, now you're having a lot less of those or none of those at all. And so of course this is going to increase your happiness, that you don't have to worry about it now that you have this implant. The second positive would be by lessening their ailments, they have an increase in productivity. Now they're able to work harder, study more, focus better, without having these ailments constantly limiting them, maybe causing them to be in a hospital. The third positive is reduced ailments could lower their stress and ultimately increase their health. So if they have lower stress, we've talked about in class that this is one of the things that is causing our health system to be overflooded, people being stressed and not eating correctly, and living poor lives. So by reducing their stress, ultimately they should have an increase in their health, which is a positive. So those are 3 positives. And now for the negatives. So by stimulating the brain, it could alter their preferences, personality. So they can just totally be another person when their implant is turned on. This can affect their relationships with their coworkers, with their families, with their spouses. It could affect everything that they like. Things that used to make them happy now no longer make them happy. So it can just have a lot of weird unknowns happening because it's your brain. So if they hallucinate while driving, and they make a turn into a group of people at a bus stop because they didn't see them, because they were hallucinating, this would obviously injure a lot of people, possibly kill people. This would be very negative for society by ruining the productivity, the health, happiness of all these other people and their loved ones. This would obviously be extremely negative. So this is huge for the brain implant. The last negative would be if they were to cause self-harm by jumping off of a building. Maybe they think they're getting chased because they're seeing a hallucination, or they just think they're on the first floor of something. They don't realize that they're on the top of a building, and they jump, causing self-harm or death. This is obviously bad for your health, your productivity, happiness, and for all those around you that care about you. This is obviously very horrible. So in conclusion, it would be amazing for people suffering from all sorts of neurological issues, like we discussed, Parkinson's, seizures, paralysis, and other more common ones, to have reductions made to their ailments. There's many people that have the robotic limbs, and they're able to start using these limbs thanks to the neural implants. But if something goes wrong with these neural implants, there's a huge negative that this thing is going to work incorrectly, and you can possibly injure yourself or people around you. So it seems that the negatives outweigh the positives of getting an implant and messing with the brain. And now, food for thought. Where does the responsibility lie if a person under the influence of their brain implant does something negative? Would it fall on the patient who chose to have the implant put into their brain? Would it fall on the doctor who performed the surgery? Or would it fall on the engineers who created the actual implant? This is a great ethics question. It's one to think about. I don't know the answer. But there are definitely different companies working on devices implanted in the brain, so we should expect to see more of this in the future, and it's something that we should think about, something similar to the self-driving car. Where does it lie? Does it fall on the driver, or does it fall on the engineers? Something like that. So that was my presentation. Thank you so much. Bye bye.